بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ثم مدة الرضاع 30 شهرا عند أبي حنيفة رحمه الله تعالى. Then the period of breastfeeding is 30 months according to Imam Baniva rahmatullah. In other words, 2.5 years. وقال سنتان, and Sahibin says 2 years. وهو قول الشافعي رحمة الله عليه. This is the call of Imam Shafi رحمة الله. وقال الزهري رحمة الله ثلاثة أحوال. Imam Zubair رحمة الله says 3 years. لأن الحول, so what's his proof? لأن الحول حسن للتحول من حال إلى حال. He say 1 year is good to change from one condition to another condition. ولا بد من الزيادة على الحول لما آه، تبين ولما تبين فتقدر به, um, and it's necessary to increase upon 2 years. In other words, you'll get the reasoning just now because of what will be explained. You understand? You need to increase over 2 years. You need to be more than 2 years, which is going to be explained in the qawl of Imam Bonifa rahmatullah alayh. The reason why you need to have more than 2 years. So, and he says 1 year. You understand? You need to have more than 2 years. And 1 year, he says, it's good to change from one situation, from breastfeeding to eating solids. You need 1 year to change over. So therefore he fixes it with 3 years. ولهما قوله تعالى وحمله وفصاله 30 شهرا. Sahibain's dalil is Allah Ta'ala's statement, and its pregnancy and its weaning is 30 months. ومدة الحمل أدناها 6 أشهر, and the period of pregnancy, the least of it is 6 months. فبقي للفصال حولان, so there remains for weaning 2 years. You understand it? The Quran is saying 30 months, and the least of pregnancy is 6 months, so that leaves you with 2 years for breastfeeding and weaning. Right. وقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم لا رضاء بعد الحولين, and they got a hadith also. Nabi Akram says there is no rada'at after 2 years. وله هذه الآية. Imam Sahib Zalil is this very same ayat. وحمله وفصاله 30 شهرا. ووجهه أنه تعالى ذكر شيئين, and his reasoning is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions two things here. أي حمله وفصاله. وضرب لهما مدة, and he has fixed for both of them a period. In other words, Hamal should be 36 months and Fisal should be 30 months. 30 months, right? فَكَانَتْ لِكُلِّ واحد مِّنْهُمَا بِكَمَالِهَا. So that period should be for each one of them two completely. In other words, Hamal should be also 30 months and Fisal should also be 30 months. Right. Kal ajalil madrubi liddainaini. Just like a due date fixed for two dates. If you say, okay, that you need to pay by the end of the month, you need to pay this debt, and by the end of the month, you need to pay that debt, which means both debts you've got right till the end of the month to pay. You understand it? Both debts you got right till the end of the month. That period is fixed for both debts. It doesn't be that by the middle of the month you have to pay the one and by the end you must pay the other. You don't divide it between the two. Rather, that period is fixed for both the debts. إلا أنه قام المنقص في إحداهما. Except, so which means now, according to that means the pregnancy should also be 30 months. You understand it? But they say now, except that a decreaser has arisen in one of them too, which is the period of pregnancy. You understand it? A decreaser there which shows that their pregnancy can be also 6 months, right? فَبَقِيَ الثَّانِي عَلَى ظَاهِرِهِ. And so the second one, which is Fisal, will remain upon its apparent, which means the weaning can take 30 months still, because there's no decreaser in it, right? You understand it? So the weaning will be 30 months, 2.5 years. ولأنه لا بد من تغير الغذاء لينقطع الإنبات باللبن. And because it is necessary for the changing of the nourishment, so that growth will cut off with milk. وذلك بزيادة مدة يتعود الصبي فيها غيره. And that will be increasing a period in which the child becomes accustomed in it to besides the breast milk, right? فقدرت بأدنى مدة الحمل. So it has been calculated with the least period of pregnancy. لأنها مغيرة, because this period of pregnancy, this least period, which is 6 months, is a change here. It brings about the change. فإن غذاء الجنين يغير غذاء الرضيع, because the nourishment of a fetus, which is in the stomach, right, is different from the nourishment of a breastfeeding child. كما يغير غذاء الفطيم, just as the nourishment of the breastfeeding child is different from the nourishment of a child that's weaned. You understand it? So the 6 month, they say, is suitable. You understand it? For the 6 months is suitable to get off the the milk. You understand it? So therefore, you need the 2 years and then the 6 months to get off. So it's 2 years and 6 months, 30 months, right? Well, hadith, now they got a hadith, they Saiben quoted the hadith. So they say, well, hadithu mahmulun ala muddatil istihqaqi. And the hadith is carried upon the period of deserving. What means deserving? That if the mother wants to charge a fee, divorced already, mother is already divorced. Now it's a child's father's duty to see to the breastfeeding of his child, and the mother is ready to breastfeed the child for the similar fee as other breastfeeders, right? Then the mother's got the first right to breastfeed the child. But now the mother will only be deserving of a fee during the 2 years. That's what it means there. La ridha ba'd al-hawli. In other words, there's no breastfeeding after 2 years. In other words, she won't get any fee for breastfeeding after 2 years if she still breast. وَعَلَيْهِ يُحْمَلُ النَّسْلُ الْمُقَيَّدُ بِحَوْلَيْنِ فِي الْكِتَابِ. And upon it, upon this meaning here, will be the text which is restricting to 2 years in the Quran also. What's it there? وَالْوَالِدَاتُ يُرْضِعْنَ أَوْلَادَهُنَّ حَوْلَيْنِ كَامِلَيْنِ. The mothers will breastfeed their children for 2 full years. So it means here it will be if they breastfeed more than 2 years, they're not going to get money after 2 years. You understand it? They won't be paid any monetary anything monetary, or they won't get any payment when it is after 2 years. So what is the fatwa? The fatwa is that by 2 years you must bring the child off the breast, right? That is the fatwa. By 2 years you must get the child off the breast. To go beyond 2 years is actually not advisable. If, however, you go beyond 2 years and you go up to 2.5 years, hurmat will still be established till 30 months. But if you go beyond 2.5 years and now the child is still breastfeeding, say the child breastfeed from another woman now, after 2.5 years, no hurmat between that child and that new woman. You understand it? You understand it now? Right. He try to stop. She shouldn't. Yeah, okay. The payment is now not applicable nowadays, but she should stop. It's better not to. Put it that way. It's better not to breastfeed beyond after 2 years. Right. وإذا مضت مدة الرضاع لم يتعلق بالرضاع التحريم. And when the period of radha has elapsed, then no hurmat will be attached with breastfeeding. لقوله عليه السلام لا رضاء بعد الفصال. There is no breastfeeding after weaning. Right? وَلِأَنَّ الْحُرْمَةَ بِاعْتِبَارِ النُّشُوِّ. And because this hurmat is on the consideration of growth. Right? وَذَلِكَ فِي الْمُدَّةِ. And that will only occur in the period. Breastfeed after that, there's no growth to the child happening with the milk after that. You understand it? Idal kabiru la yatarabba bihi, because the big child doesn't grow with the breastfeeding milk. Wala yu'tabaru fitamu qabla al-muddati illa fi riwayatin an Abi Hanifa rahimahullah idha istaghna anhum. And the weaning will not be considered before the period, except in one riwayat from Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullah alayhi, when the child is independent from milk. What does this mean? That that the child, say you took the child of the breast after 1 year, right? Then within the 2.5 years, another woman breastfed the child. So they say then that hurmat will still be established, right? But there is one riwayat now, not Imam Abu Hanifa's mazhab, just a riwayat from him, that if the child is independent from the milk, then there'll be no hurmat. You understand it? But which means the fatwa will be on that if anybody breastfed a child within the 2.5 years, then hurmat is established. ووجه انقطاع النشوء بتغير الغذاء. Right. And it's a reasoning for what? For this one riwayat, right? The growth is cut off with the changing of the nourishment. So therefore, this riwayat is saying no hurmat is established. Why? Because the child is no more going to grow with that breast milk. You understand it? Although it's within the time period, but this will not be the fatwa. وهل يباح الإرضاع بعد المدة فقد قيل لا يباح. And is breastfeeding allowed after the period? Can you breastfeed after 2.5 years? It is said it is not permissible, right? قيل لا يباح لأن إباحته ضرورية, because the permissibility of breastfeeding is out of necessity, right? لكونه جزء الآدمي, because of the milk being a portion of man, and you can't take istimta with a portion of man. You understand? Just like blood is haram. Why? Because it's a portion of man. You can't drink blood. So likewise, you're not supposed to be allowed to drink milk because it's a portion of man, but it's been allowed out of necessity. Leave it alone.